on this tube with just a kind of proliferation of not very positive mental states. So a sense of a lot of not wanting sweaty armpits near my face, not wanting to be so hot and rammed into this airless tube, not wanting my job. So, you know, that kind of spiraling mood where you think of one thing that you don't like, and then that just prompts another one, and another thing, and another thing. So I was in one of those kind of and another thing moods, with just one kind of unwholesome negative state piling in after another. And I had a kind of moment of awareness and just saw this sort of mayhem, this hoo-ha running riot in my mind. And I just thought, this is not helpful. And I had a sense of just slightly in a way grasping at something that would help. And I just started to bring these Buddha figures to mind with their colors, their different gestures, their different associations, their wisdoms, their different qualities. And it felt like it was beyond me to actually cultivate in myself those more lovely qualities, but I could remember that they exist. I could bring them to mind and go through them and think, oh yes, Amitabha, that hugeness of love, stillness, akshobhya, sense of confidence, steadiness, imperturbability. In my mind, I could connect with them, I could recall them. And it felt like, and it still does when I bring them to mind, like kind of opening a window into a different world and letting some light, some color, some fresh air come in. So with those Buddhas on that train, it felt like I'd found a window, that I could pull open this window and kind of gasp for fresh air and say, oh, there is something beautiful out there. I remember it. And by the time I got to Mile End, I was in a much more positive state of mind. And I had a sense of this tube being filled with Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So that was the first sort of significant, meaningful, in a way, connection of my own. Not just hearing about them, but kind of, inviting them into my mind, into my world. So, last week, Dvayasiddhi talked about Akshobhya, the blue Buddha of the East. So where is East? I think it's that way. Associated with dawn, and his earth-touching mudra or gesture associated with confidence. This week, it is my very great pleasure to introduce you to another friend, and this is the golden, radiant Buddha of the South. So from where we are, he's that way. It's where the sun comes flooding in the shrine room. So Ratnasambhava, the golden Buddha of the South, is going to be our delight for this evening. But first, before I say much more, I was going to lead us in a reflection and a kind of settling, arriving practice. So you're welcome to have your eyes open or closed, move about, lie down, whatever you would make you feel most comfortable. And just settling into the space, sense of your body, wherever it is. Breathing body. And we'll start just by giving a bit of space to acknowledge any discomfort, anything that might be unpleasant in your experience. So we're not starting out with any denial or unconsciousness of any difficulty that might be there. Any tension in the body or irritation from the day. So just accepting whatever's there. There it is. But it's not the only thing in our experience. There's more. There's always more. So I invite you now to take your attention to whatever's pleasant in your experience. Whatever in the physical, tactile body has a sense of pleasantness. A sense of ease, perhaps, or warmth. Contact with something furry, that might be nice. And then I'm going to invite you to open up the visual field of experience. I'm going to ask Darren to bring some images up on the screen. So for people at home, if you want to look, there will be some images up on the screen. And for people in the shrine room, you have images in front of you as well. So feel free to look at the screen if you want to. Some images of warm, sunny days. And just having a sense through this visual field of anything else that you find pleasant or beautiful, might be on your own shrine, in the space where you are. Sense of things that there is enjoyment and your eyes rest there. And then if you'd like to close your eyes again or just lower your gaze. Perhaps having a sense of why you're here, what the values are that have motivated you to be here this evening. Perhaps a sense of the community that we're creating together. Sense of your own growth, potential for liberation. And I invite you to bring to mind something that you're grateful for today. Could be some small thing in your day, sunlight, an encounter with someone. So bringing this experience to mind, whatever it is, small or big, that you feel a sense of gladness, gratitude for. And see if you can recall it in as much detail as possible. Could be a felt sense of it. There might be images or sounds. Sensations. Just dwelling for a few moments in that experience. And now bring to mind something that you appreciate about yourself today. Some rejoicing in yourself. Some act of body, speech, or mind. Something that you have done or said. Or something in your own mind. And again, bringing that as fully into your awareness as you can. A sense of its value. Now for the last few moments, just relaxing back into an appreciative awareness of experience just now. Of yourself. This breath. This sitting here. This opening to life. So perhaps in that reflection just now, we've dipped a little toe into Ratnasambhava's realm of appreciative awareness. So Darren, if you could put up the first image, I think you'll see on your screen quite soon an image of Ratnasambhava. Golden, radiant, glowing like sunshine. This Buddha of the southern realm is associated with the noonday sun. I think of him as the Buddha of summer holidays. So you had some images before on the screen of images that evoke for me that sense of opening, warmth, relaxation, expansiveness of Ratnasambhava. And now we'll have the second image, which is less kind of beamingly radiant, but gives you a bit more a detail of some of the form of Ratnasambhava. This is a painting by an order member called Aloka. So a few things that you will see in this image. His right hand is open, facing outwards, the palm facing outwards. And this is called the mudra or gesture of supreme giving, generosity. So you could try that for yourself, what it feels like to just have an open hand. The difference between if you clench the fingers in and then if you let them unfurl. Let your hand be open. So his right hand is in this gesture of supreme giving. And his left hand holds the wish-fulfilling jewel, the Chintamani. He's associated with beauty, with the arts and with nature, and with this sense of ripening, of growing, of things coming to fruition, swelling fruit, harvest, and expansion. You could come back to me now. Thanks, Darren. So his name, Ratnasambhava, means jewel-born or jewel-producing. Might make you think of someone in our Sangha, another jewel that we know, Jayaratna. Let's see if you meet any other jewels. So he's associated with riches, with jewels, with abundance, and a sense of inner abundance and outer. A sense of plenty, of having enough, and of knowing it, appreciating what we have. He is definitely a cup half full kind of a Buddha. Whether you have other kinds of Buddhas, I don't know. But he definitely has that orientation of a sense that the cup is definitely on the full side. Noticing what we have rather than what we don't have. So I'll just read a poem by David White called Enough. These few words are enough. If not these words, this breath. If not this breath, this sitting here, this opening to life we have refused again and again, until now. Until now. So we can have riches and blessings, but if we don't appreciate them, it's like we don't have them. So gratitude is a practice. It's a practice that leads to contentment. And I invite you to join me and others for the month of December in in a gratitude practice for December, which is like a kind of alternative Advent calendar. You may have your Advent calendar as well as of yesterday. That could be a daily ritual. So this is an alternative or additional activity for the month of December. And I'll show you what I've got. I've got a little box here, and in it, I have pieces of paper. So all you need to do for this activity is have, what would it be, 31 little pieces of coloured paper, like so. And on them you write the numbers 1 to 31. And each day, take a piece of paper and write on it something that you're grateful for. So I usually did it at the end of the day when I did this last year. Something that I felt grateful for, and then something that I rejoiced in myself, and pop it in the box. And on you go through the month. And yeah, I mean, it can be a difficult time of year, I think, for people sometimes, as it's getting darker and colder. The light's not there. So it can just be a way of orienting ourselves towards what we have, towards an appreciative frame of mind. So you can do one a day for the month of December. I'll read you a few of mine. So this one, that was on the 3rd last year. I had gratitude for Jyotidana's sense of humour and rejoicing in my efficiency and energy today, brackets, after lethargy yesterday. That's an improvement. I had, what day was that? Gratitude to Akasha Raja, my Dharma brother and excellent Dharma teacher. So I don't know what you were doing on the 5th, something that inspired me. And I was rejoicing in my own hanging in there when I feel low. One more. This one, I was grateful for oxygen on this day, on the 2nd, and rejoicing in my own joy, in my own company, dancing to Stevie Wonder. So you get a bit of a flavour. They can be whatever you like. They don't have to be huge things, but whatever strikes you as, yeah, what comes to your mind. So that's for December. And then in January, which can sometimes be an even tougher month for people than December, on each day of January, you can at random, like a tombola, take one of these little bits of paper back out of your box and be put back in touch with some of your gratitudes and rejoicings from the previous month to lift your spirits a little. And then in February, you can find another Sangha member and swap cards with them. And each day take one of their little pieces of paper out. And hopefully that will see you through to the end of February, by which time the light will be coming back and it will be getting a little easier. So yeah, I invite you to take on a gratitude practice, and in that way can be, yeah, just quite fun and connecting with others in the Sangha. And Karen, I think, has written something about this for the newsletter, which we're going out at the weekend. So yeah, that'll just say a little bit about it. And if you want her help in hooking up with someone else in the Sangha to swap with, she will be happy to do that. Sometimes I noticed that when I was doing this, I could turn around what was actually a complaint or a sense of lack. So, for example, I was noticing that I kept feeling slightly hard done by and complaining about my cold feet. And then I just thought, but you know, I am very glad to have them. I am very glad to have those feet, cold or not. And I'm glad of the furry bed socks and the hot water bottle that warm them up. So sometimes a sense of lack or complaining can be turned around. So it's something about like countering the negativity bias, which we've been told is kind of inbuilt to our brains as human beings, that kind of being drawn towards the difficult things or the worrying or the threatening things. In a way, it keeps us safe to do that. It probably is very good for the survival of the species, but not very good for the happiness of the individual. So yeah, finding ways to counter that negativity bias. I love this poem by Derek Walcott called Love After Love. I'll just read you a short extract from it. The time will come when with elation you will greet yourself, arriving at your own door, in your own mirror, and each will smile at the other's welcome. The poem is called Feast on Your Life. So that makes me think of Ratnasambhava, that sense of feasting, of abundance, of relishing and feasting on your life. So when we practice gratitude and appreciation, it feeds our sense of abundance, of plenty, focusing on what we have, not what we lack, on the good qualities of our friends, our family members, our partner, rather than on what they lack. And when we have that mentality of abundance, then giving feels easy. Generosity, open-handedness, that is another key quality of Ratnasambhava. So obviously it's not just material things that we can give time and energy, we give our care. We give Dharma teachings to help people navigate the world, respond more helpfully to their suffering. I sometimes think if that Buddhist teaching of the 2 arrows could somehow be imparted to everyone in Shrewsbury, what a difference that would make to their lives. That simple teaching on the 2 arrows of how we have one form of suffering and then so often we make it worse by adding to it with another second arrow. And another thing I thought that we can very fruitfully give is giving other people the benefit of the doubt. So when someone does something that we don't enjoy, a look or a word or a silence, can we give them the benefit of the doubt? So if we're left thinking, why did they do that inexplicable, unpleasant thing? Why did they do that? Can we shift the way that we ask that question? So rather than a kind of wariness or suspicion or hostility, full of assumptions because we think we know why they did it, because they're mean and selfish and out to get us, of course. But could we ask the question in a more neutral, open tone? I wonder why they did that. Can we have that tone of voice to reflect a more kind of open quality? Could we actually be open to the most positive, most compassionate explanation for whatever it is that they've done? Based on whatever knowledge we have of that person's life, the conditions that they live in, the challenges they face, and their values. Can we find an explanation, use our imagination to find an explanation that makes them look good rather than bad in our mind? So I think I associate that practice with Ratnasambhava, giving people the benefit of the doubt. What else to say? Oh, yes. So he is associated with a particular wisdom. Each of these 5 Buddhas have a particular wisdom. And Ratnasambhava's wisdom is the wisdom of equality or sameness. So this points to the fundamental sense we are all the same, in which we are in the same boat of human experience, subject to impermanence, to dukkha, shaped by conditions. All of us experiencing craving, aversion, confusion. And this wisdom is balanced by another Buddha's wisdom, the wisdom of Amitabha, who you will get to know better next week. So Amitabha's wisdom is the wisdom of difference. So they could sound like they're saying the opposite thing, couldn't they? We've got the wisdom of sameness from Ratnasambhava and the wisdom of difference from Amitabha. And I just have a sense of how important it is to hold them both, like you've got one in each hand. Each points to a truth, and both are needed. For the fullest picture, we are both the same in so many fundamental ways, and we are also unique and particular, different. We are our own special beings. And I think particularly this year, where I feel like I've had more awareness of issues around race and racism, and I've been studying it with a few people in the Sangha. I feel like it's really important to not use this idea of the wisdom of sameness to ignore the differences that shape people's lives, the different conditions, the different challenges that they face as a result of things like race or class, gender, disability, or just the particular family circumstances that they have. So we keep on holding the contradiction that's not a contradiction between these two wisdoms of sameness and difference, neither cancelling the other out, but bringing richness of perspective. So this week, set your compass to the south, set your compass to Ratnasambhava. See if you can look out for him. See if you can see him in Shrewsbury or Shropshire or wherever you live in Wales. Look out for him. In the glow of the sun, in the autumn leaves, there's still some of those amazing yellow, bright yellow leaves around. In flames of fire or candle. In butternut squash, in red lentil soup. You might see him anywhere, unexpectedly. So look out for him and let those glimpses remind you of his qualities, of his abundance, sense of appreciation, generosity. Every day being an opportunity to give. And that sense of equality, of solidarity, of how you are like others. See if you can draw near to others with a sense of what you have in common, what you share with them. And start your daily gratitude and rejoicing practice if you feel like giving that a go. So I think that's all I have to say for now, by way of a little bit of introduction to Ratnasambhava. So we go into breakout groups for the people on Zoom. What do we normally do? Is it 20 minutes? 15, 20 minutes? Okay, so 20 minutes. And well, maybe you could share, if you feel like it, with the people in your group about some of those, whatever came up in the reflection that we did at the start of the evening, something that you felt grateful for today and something that you rejoiced in yourself. Maybe share those and encourage people to dwell on them. So they might say, oh, lovely walk, had a lovely walk. Don't let them just leave it at that. Ask them to evoke it a bit for you. You know, what did they love about that walk? What was it that they appreciated? So a sense of kind of allowing yourself to fill up with that memory, with that experience. Give the brain a chance to really bask in, dwell in memories that lift your spirits, that are cheering and delighting.